Jared Poland, Fro Knows Photo.com here at Allen's Camera because the Nikon D5100 kits have arrived. And we'll see what I think about the kit. But yeah, I have a D7000 behind me because we're going to put them side by side. And this is just part one of this video because I'm going to go into shooting samples and showing test shots, which I guess have to be JPEGs for now until Lightroom updates so I can then edit the raw file. But you're also going to see sample video. I'm going to do a whole video with it, and then I'm going to give you close-up shots of this camera so that you can see the different features and all of that. So let's unbox. You've got the kit lens. We're not even going to talk about it as usual. We're just going to talk about this body. I mean, the first thing I noticed, oh, there's that smell again that I can't even go, I can't even remember. It's that smell. It just brings something. I don't know if it's Upper Deck baseball cards. It could be Upper Deck baseball, like 89 Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card. So here's the camera. It's light. I mean, obviously there's no battery in it right now, but it feels light. It's on par with your D3100 body, except the difference is it has the articulating screen, much like Canon has with the T3i. Still not the biggest fan of articulating screens for still photography, but starting to really find a use for it for doing videos. Ari was saying the other day that he was using it. It's on the tripod and he was sitting down. It would be great if he could check it at a different angle, or if you were shooting at a lower angle video on a tripod, that this would be much easier to look at than getting down on the same level. So that's good. So what's different here? On the D7000, which is much heavier and a much bigger body. So really, if you're looking at a body like this, this is what, $799 body only and $899 with the kit. This is $1,200 body only. So big difference in price when you go from $699 for the D3100, then another $100 gives you this body, which I think could be a good option because you could always pick up an 18-55 used for pretty cheap. And then if you're more of a professional, not a professional, if you're more of an advanced amateur and you're really looking to take this further, the 7000 I would still go with over something like this. More focusing points, 39 versus the 11 that are in here. But again, this is not meant to be a professional camera. This is meant to be a step up from the 3100. With that said, this has, excuse me, the same sensor as the D7000, so that's good. It does video at 1080, 24 frames a second, and also it can do 30 frames a second, which the 7000 can't do. Not a deal breaker for me that I already own a D7000 myself, but what's different, up top here you have a springy switch instead of on the back. And the reason that is because you needed more room for a 3-inch screen. The record button is now up top instead of on the back. I mean, and those are your differences. It uses the same battery as the 3100, so it's not as much power as what you're going to get out of a D7000. There is no battery grip that I know of that Nikon makes or that they intend to make. Again, do not buy third-party grips. I wouldn't put money into grips on the lower-end bodies. I would wait till you get up into like a 7000 or the higher-end bodies, because that's where you want to put your, you want to invest your money in the low end when you're getting glass. As you move up, then a grip's going to come in handy. But when you're first starting out, grips wouldn't be used for this. And yeah, and there's no place to put a grip. Just like this has this spot right here, they wouldn't put a grip on this bad boy. So it's one SD card. Comparison-wise, we're going to put the images together and see 7000 versus this, and what I think. It should be pretty similar in image quality and video quality, just not as good focusing, as it's only 11 points instead of 39 points. But again, it's an amateur camera. It's all plastic compared to more of a magnesium body that is here in the 7000. So when we come back, we're going to have some close-up views of this camera, and then we're going to get into some samples of video and some stills, because I want to see what it does. So we'll be right back. Here we have the D5100, and let's do a run-through of the body. So what you're looking at right now is the top of the camera, where you see the rotation dial. It's the same thing as you would have on your D3100. The difference here is everything's been moved around the top slightly. You have an info button right here. I think that's what that says. You have your record button now. You press this to start. You press that to stop recording your video. You've got your plus minus for your exposure compensation. And then you have your spring-loaded live view, which you just press down, you let it go, and then the mirror flips up and your video mode is on. That also activates the menu on the screen, so when you want to make a change to something on the screen, you hit the info button. So that's what you would do. So let's turn this on and see how this works. So we'll rotate the screen. Let's see, this way. Boom. So how do I want to get to changing the settings on the back? I hit the info button, and then there you go. You can have access to all of the different settings in the camera. Here we have your RAW plus JPEG is what it's on right now. You can change your ISO, and look, you have your increments. You have your 100, your 125, 160, all the way up to H3 or whatever that is. Oh, I need to try out that super duper night vision mode, which I didn't really try out any of the modes. But so that's your info button, just like that. To play back, the play button is right here. Then you see, you could hit this, and then you could watch the video play back. Another thing that's been moved is the menu button. The menu button's over here, and the menu does have a slight different look. New icons, it's a little cleaner, a little more slick, but nothing really different about that. You still go through this area and change it. Your play button right there. You have your zoom in on a photo. So let's get a photo up. We hit the play button. Let's see, there's Brandon, and now we're going to zoom in. You can zoom all the way in. Oh, and I just hit another button. So that's that. As we move around to here, you have your mic in right here. You have an HDMI, and you have a few other inputs, but that's right there. Right here is where you have your SD card slot. One slot, it opens up, you're good to go. And other than that, it's a basic run-through of this camera. Pretty simple to use. Yeah, so that's about it. Alright, so let's take a look closer now that I put a battery in the camera. I turn it on, and with the D3100, you press the info button to change your settings, because there's really no dedicated buttons on the outside to change ISO. It's mostly menu driven. So I had to figure out, how do I get into the, with the D3100, I would hit one of the buttons on the left hand side, and then I could change the menu. Here I have to reach up to here where there's an info button, as you see on the video, or a picture of it, and I've got to basically cycle through this, and I can go through all the ISO, the auto white balance, the quality. But what I noticed in ISO is something that the 3100 doesn't have. 100 ISO, then it goes to 125, 160. There's the 1/3 increments. So that means you can now shoot at 640. You can now shoot at 1000 or 1250 ISO. So there's changes in that. That's something that the 3100 doesn't do, and that's awesome here. So here you have a look at the rotating screen. It's nice. It's really bright. It's a nice screen. You can see now a picture of the live view up top. This is the switch. This is where now you also have your record button. But other than that, most things are menu driven here. It feels fine. I mean, it's small in the hands, of course. I would like, yeah, I mean, the buttons have been moved. So it's the first time really that they veered away in this model from the 3100, the 7000, and the D300S, that the buttons are in different places. I'm used to having them on the left-hand side. Like on the D7000, everything goes right down here, so it's a little different. For people just starting, and this is their first camera, it's not going to be a problem, but for somebody like me, I have to learn now where the new buttons are. When it comes to record, I have to press this button up top instead of hitting the center button or the record button right here. So that's just the first feel of it when I'm picking it up and actually putting a battery in here and playing with it. The menu system is going to be exactly the same, but it's pretty good that you have the increments, the 1/3 increments in your ISO. To me, that's a major thing to have that the D3100 doesn't have. So now you see the side of the camera. You have a microphone in. Here's a picture with HDMI. It actually, I noticed in the box, comes with a USB cable, which the D3100 did not come with. So really, for that $100 more on a body only, just starting out, I would venture to say buy this 5100 with the rotating screen, for the fact that it has it has a mic in case you want to do video like that. It's got better video than what the 3100 has. So it's a step up from that, but it's not too much more expensive than the 3100 itself. So you can see all the different pictures I'm showing right now of this camera. But again, it's along the lines of the feel of what a 3100 is. You just have to get used to the buttons being in a different area, and coming from pro bodies or even coming from a D7000 and having dedicated buttons on the outside, it takes some getting used to. So that is a look close up of the body. And coming up next, we're going to get some sample video, hopefully some sample images, and go from there. Be right back. All right, we're back with some sample images and some video. So you're going to see it running through. Some feedback now that I've shot with this thing is the buttons, you get used to it really quick. I mean, it's like when you shoot with the Canons, you still get used to wherever they move their buttons to. So I also discovered that the menu button is on the top left-hand side. I didn't realize that, and that's there. The video shooting is simple. It's easy. The focus, again, the autofocus is okay. It's not going to be great, but when you're shooting most videos and like the Fronos photo show, this would be perfect for sitting there to shoot the Fronos photo show. The only thing I'd be concerned about is a smaller battery, that the battery life won't hold up as well as the D7000 battery. I got used to the record button really quick. It's up top right here. I could click it. It will record. I stop it. It stops recording. You get through the menu system very easy by hitting the info button. When you hit that info button, you can then cycle through your follow focus, wide focus, whether you want to do single focus. So again, for video, if you pick one of these up and you have a knowledge of how they worked in the past, you're going to get it really, really quick. So you're seeing some sample video running here. Some of the sample photos, I shot them in both RAW and JPEG because I'm not sure I can edit the RAW files yet. I don't think that Adobe Lightroom has done that, so we're going to be stuck with the bad lighting that I don't, well, maybe I'll correct them in Lightroom anyway. Shot at 6400, so you can see that. There's some shots that I did at 2000. There's some shots that I did around 4000. Just to give you guys a feel for how this camera is doing, you can also download the full res JPEGs from the Flickr site. You can see the link or the images right below. Just click on those. You can download the full res shots. I'd venture to say it's going to be pretty similar to what the D7000 can do. I love that there's incremental steps here, 100, 125, 200, and then 250. I love having the increments for the ISO that you can choose yourself. So, you know, let's run some more sample video, and we'll just let it go there, and you can see how it works. The focus, of course, you're going to hear that, but it has an audio plug-in for external mics. You could use the Nikon microphone that they came out with. Don't have one of those to test yet, but that would be, you know, another good option. Or the lavalier mics that I'm wearing are a really good option if you're looking to just do interviews and it's not really heavy shooting, and you're really just looking for a video camera. This is good at $799 body only. Get a bunch of batteries. Has the rotating screen, so you can do while an interview is going. If you set it up yourself, you can watch the screen and make sure your framing and composition is still right while you're recording. The mic in is perfect. You could use that Beach Tech I talked about in the show a little while ago, because that Beach Tech will be great to put in 2 microphones, or just carry a wireless microphone. This is small. You can attach it to different things, use your GorillaPod or whatever. It's a good little video camera, and it's a good starting camera if you're just starting out. I would probably recommend this over the 3100 for the incremental stops and the better video and the better sensor. I mean, for that extra $100, I know it adds up over time, but if you start with this and a 35-1.8, it's a really good start, and it gives you a nice jump on photography. Plus, if you're going to be moving into video, it's pretty important now to learn that. This is a good little video camera, on par with the D7000 in terms of quality. Just some little, you know, less things in there like the autofocus, smaller, less battery power, but other than that, good little camera to start with. So you've seen some of the sample images, some of the sample video. Now it's up to you guys. You can download the images. You can see the full res 1080 video at 30 frames a second up on YouTube, and that is about it. That's a Nikon D5100. It's nice little one if you're looking for just some extra video camera angles. Not bad at all. Jared Polin, Fronos Photo.com. See ya.